Hey, everybody. You are about to hear a brief retelling of the movie Mia and the White Lion. Enjoy the movie. The Owen family manages a lion farm in the midst of Africa. They recently relocated from London, and the eldest daughter, Mia, is upset because she misses her friends. She also avoids spending time with the animals, not even wanting them in the same room as her, in contrast to her mentally ill brother Mick. Mia constantly gets in problems at school since she doesn't have any friends, which worries her mother Alice but irritates her father John. He attempts to tell her how fortunate she is to live in such a lovely environment, but Mia ignores him. When Mick experiences sleep terrors again one night, Alice tells him a tale to help him relax. It's the story of a Shangan shaman who foresaw the miracle of a white lion being born on Christmas. Such a miracle occurs when Christmas arrives at the Owen home and John appears with a white lion cub named Charlie. Because the chances of seeing a white lion are 1 in a million, Charlie's presence on the farm will be important in attracting more people, but Mia avoids him as well. Later, Mia tries to video chat with a buddy from England, but he is too busy to keep her company right now, causing Mia to cry. Mia does grin when she eventually dares to pet the small fellow, but she denies it when Mick taunts her about it. When she's attempting to practice soccer outside and Charlie comes over to take her ball, bursting it, things grow even more frustrating for her. Mia scoops up Charlie and carries him inside to her family, moaning the entire while, and becomes enraged when John attempts to divert her with the pancakes brought by Jody. When Mick falls asleep while feeding Charlie one morning, the lion proceeds to torment Mia instead. She's apprehensive at first, but Charlie ultimately wins her over, and the two of them connect as she takes on the responsibility of feeding him. Mia starts playing with Charlie and Mick every day after that. Charlie has doubled in size by the time he is 4 months old and has become Mia's dearest companion. He's also learned to obey her commands to the letter, transforming himself into a well-trained pet. Alice notices Mia is still sleeping with Charlie and informs her that the lion will have to stay outdoors soon since he will be too large to be inside and, more importantly, too dangerous. Mia is reading a book about lions with a flashlight under the blankets one night. Something about the setting irritates Charlie, and he begins pawing at Mia, who isn't afraid and understands it's simply a test. Mia is inspired by Charlie to start seeing the other animals on the farm, so she begins accompanying her father on his feeding rounds. She takes advantage of the opportunity to ask John how the farm generates money, and he replies that once the guest house is up, they will attract visitors, filmmakers, and researchers. They also sell lions to zoos and other breeders. Mia prohibits John from ever selling Charlie, but John is unconcerned and reminds her that a lion is never a pet. Mia is departing for a 2-week school trip later, therefore Charlie must remain in his enclosure. Charlie claws himself in protest as one of the farm workers scoops him up to carry him there. Mia wants to remain and help, but she can't be late, so the employee drags Charlie into the cage with his companions using a chain. Mia is preoccupied and misses her lion too much during the journey, not even paying attention during the soccer match she is a part of. Charlie misses her as much, so he refrains from cleaning and eating while she is away, and he also refrains from defending himself against other lions. Mia's class travels on a tour to an abandoned jail, which reminds her of the farm enclosures. Charlie, unable to bear the thought of being locked away, decides to flee her professors and hitchhike her way home. Mia is already returned, feeding Charlie and singing for him by the time Alice receives a call from the school informing her of what has occurred. Charlie is bigger than Mia when he is a year old, yet he still wants to lie down on top of her. Jody notices this and is concerned for her safety, but Mick assures her that everything is all right because Mia has enchanted her lion. Charlie's larger stature, on the other hand, causes problems. He can now reach the dining table and grab their food right from the serving dishes. He's also devoured the television and enjoys chasing the animals Mick looks after. Mia gets yelled at by John for the mess in the house and is told to keep Charlie outdoors. Mia is watching lion documentaries one afternoon when he receives a call from a friend in England, so she is the one who declines him this time. Screaming can be heard outside, and Mia rushes out to find Charlie has scratched a foreigner. This is his first time in such a large crowd, and he is terrified, so Mia attempts to explain, making a fuss in front of everyone since her father would not listen. Before sending Mia to her bed, an irate John draws her back inside, telling her that the farm must generate a profit in order to aid the lions. The following day, John is visited by Dirk, who is far too flirtatious and tactile with Alice. He wants to conduct some business with the lions, but John tells him he no longer wants to cooperate with him. Mia continues to spend time with Charlie, but it is now always outside in his enclosure. Alice finds Mia's arms scratched one day and urges her not to play with Charlie anymore. Mia refuses, saying that the lion is still learning to control his claws and that their bond is built on trust. Mia lets Charlie pounce on her from behind to illustrate her point, which is typically against the rules. This scares Alice, but they're simply fooling about. The family goes out to dinner in the evening, and Mia fails to properly secure the cage, allowing Charlie to escape while they are gone. The reason for the family's joy is that the farm is now turning a profit. Because their grandpa had not done a good job of managing the farm, the family had relocated to London until they were ready to return. When the family returns to the property and notices the door is open, John quickly dispatches his servants to seek for Charlie. Mia isn't supposed to accompany them, but as soon as they go, she slips out to hunt as well. Mia considers going over the fence since it has a new lock that she can't unlock, but Mick arrives and informs her that the fence is electrified. But she doesn't have to worry because Mick has a solution. He summons one of his elephant buddies and forces it to shatter the lock with its massive paw. The siblings explore the untamed region and quickly locate Charlie, who has fled to save one of Mick's dogs. One of the staff also discovers them and takes pity on the children, enabling them to return to the home before John does. Charlie grows up to be a fully fledged lion at the age of 2. Mia ignores her father's commands and continues to spend time with the lion, even playing music for him in an old automobile. She persuades Mick to join her in the cage one afternoon, and everything goes swimmingly until Alice notices them. She starts shrieking and requests that John bring his tranquilizer pistol, which worries Charlie and causes him to accidentally push Mick to the ground. The kid falls and a doctor is called to check on him. Thankfully, it isn't anything severe, but the parents are fed up, especially when Mia tells them it's not Charlie's fault, but theirs for scaring him. John wants to sell Charlie, but Alice believes it would kill Mia, so he agrees to retain him only if Mia never enters the cage again. A year later, Alice and Mick are returning from treatment, but Mick is in a worse mood than normal since his doctor has changed. Mia wants to know more about Mick's problems, but Alice refuses to tell her, so she goes to meet Mick herself. Mia tells him he isn't worthless and reminds him of how many animals he's saved before taking him outdoors to reveal her secret. Mia sneaks into the cage and plays with Charlie, whom she visits behind her father's back every day. Mia informs Mick that the legend is true, white lions are exceptional, and one day both Charlie and Mick will be free. Mick captures everything with his phone to retain these memories with him. That evening, the siblings chuckle when another of Mick's pets scares Jody by emerging inside one of her pots. It's a nice family moment that John wants to capture, so he uses Mick's opportunity to do so and inadvertently discovers the film of Mia and Charlie. John, enraged by the violation of his regulations, chooses to sell Charlie to the first buyer. Charlie is sent to a different enclosure with the other wild lions, and Mia visits him to assure him that she will rescue him later. She ends up falling asleep against the fence, and when she wakes up the next morning, John and the staff are in a truck. They put a lioness to sleep so she may be sold, and Mia takes advantage of the opportunity to climb on top of the trunk and follow them to find out where the lions are brought. When they get to their location, Mia is appalled to learn the reality about these sales. Dirk has a company where tourists may pay to shoot a lion in a controlled environment and retain the trophy. John feels embarrassed to be there as well, but Dirk isn't having it and reminds him that it's his business that allows John to maintain the farm. Because he doesn't have much of a choice, John assures Dirk that he'll deliver Charlie in 2 days. When Mia comes home, she conducts some internet research and discovers that this is how many African sanctuaries legally operate in order to survive. They sell one to rescue a dozen. Her father's actions haunt her, and she can't even look him in the eyes at dinner, so she departs without eating. Mick goes to check on her, and Mia tells him the truth because he's the only one she can confide in. She's also chosen to go with Charlie to the Timbavati Game Reserve, a safe haven for white lions, and Mick agrees to assist her. He swiftly prepares a vacation for Mia, which will take 2 days by automobile, followed by 5 or 6 days on foot. Mia packs as much food as she can, and Mick decides to give him all of his funds as well. Mia flees when everyone is sleeping and is discovered by Jody, who is not there to chastise her but to assist her. Jody hands Mia the keys to the enclosure, allowing her to liberate Charlie and flee with him. But before she leaves, she frees a slew of other creatures. This way, when her family wakes up the next morning, they'll be stuck inside until the personnel arrive to assist them, giving Mia a time and distance edge. After the animals have been returned to their enclosures, John searches for Mia in his vehicle, while Mick sends Mia a message to warn her. When John sees them, he is distracted by Charlie, so Mia approaches him from behind and snatches the tranquilizer gun. Mia kills her father with a dart and steals the vehicle after calling him out on his falsehoods and lack of motivation to change the world. Charlie may now ride in the rear without being seen. Mia texts Mick to inform him of John's whereabouts so that he might be rescued, and John immediately calls the police. So, when Mia arrives at a gas station to fill up her tank and purchase some groceries, she has to get out before the cashier catches her face on the news. The police have also set up roadblocks at Newlands, so Mick contacts Mia to inform her that she must off the roadway. To dodge the cops, Mia makes a quick, risky detour on the road, landing her in the center of a small village. Charlie attempts to check on her when she almost falls asleep behind the wheel, and her anger prompts her to break down and implore the lion to kill her right now. Charlie soothes her down with a swift stroke of his paw, and the two of them fall asleep while viewing the stars on top of the truck. Meanwhile, John receives a call from Dirk demanding to know where Charlie is, so he informs him that the lion is no longer for sale. Dirk comes up at the property the next day because he saw the news, and he threatens to locate Charlie first. John brings Mick and Alice with him to join the hunt, desperate not to let him get there first, especially after learning that the police had been given authority to shoot. Back to Mia, she completes the driving portion of the journey with terrible news. The map she's been using is outdated, and the region she's scheduled to travel now is occupied by a shopping mall. Mia takes a dangerous move to get Charlie out of the truck and into the mall with her because she doesn't have any other alternatives. Everyone is afraid of the lion, so they avoid it, allowing them to simply discover the back entrance and ultimately make their way into the forest. Charlie is overjoyed to be in the wilderness and even begins hunting, allowing Mia to store some meat for later. Dirk catches up with them and tries to capture them after Mia spends the night resting on top of a tree, but Charlie bites Dirk and scares off the tourist who wanted to purchase him. Mia's family comes after the duo escapes, and John instructs Dirk not to show his face again. Alice is perplexed by all of this, so John eventually admits that Mia is aware of the hunts. A dispute arises since accidentally seeing a murder was what devastated Mick the previous time they fled to London, and John had sworn it wouldn't happen again. Mick tells their parents that Mia is bringing Charlie to the Schengen People's Reserve to prevent them from squabbling. Mia, who is sunburned and out of supplies, begins to feel the effects of the journey. When they eventually get to Timbavati, he is unable to move, so Charlie must travel the remaining mile alone. Unfortunately, her family and the cops come, fully prepared to shoot. Remembering his daughter's comments, John decides he wants to change the world and stands between Charlie and the cops, allowing the lion to cross the bridge and join the reserve where he can't be injured legally. Mia reunites with her family, and months later, they return to the reserve to see Charlie enjoy his new pups. In the previous century, the number of lions in Africa has decreased by 90%. They are not designated an endangered species, but at this rate, they will be extinct in 20 years.